Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman. He's a brand new author, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, with a passion for weaving captive narratives and a deep-rooted connection to the South. We'll talk about that. He's been influenced by music, people, challenges, and triumphs, and a little of TCB in the background there. And the new book is based strongly on his own experiences, and it's about a man named Tommy who couldn't move on from Memphis, emotionally abused as a child, successful businessman, and also a need for healing beneath the jet-setting lifestyle and search for peace and for forgiveness and everything else. And the book is called From Punishment to Peace, The Road Trips to Forgiveness. So live, ladies and gentlemen, the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Atlanta, Georgia. He's been there and everywhere, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and going from Memphis to Atlanta. We'll talk about the journey. It's also talk about the book From Punishment to Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Tom Harrison. Tom, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good evening to you, Mike. Thank you for letting me be a part of your show.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Tom. And it looks like your guys in the background are doing a little shake, rattle, and roll, and they're happy to be on the show, too.
Elvis is moving tonight, that's for sure.
There you go. And a little bit of peanut butter and banana. I could tell you that, too. So,
Right, right.
so you're a new author, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, with a passion for weaving captive narratives and also a deeper connection to the South, and you're influenced by music, people, challenges, and triumphs. And it's a book based strongly on own experiences. And it's about a boy or man named Tommy who couldn't move on from Memphis and emotionally abused as a child, successful businessman, searching basically for a need for healing and beneath a jet setting lifestyle and search for peace. And also, for forgiveness and just about everything else for 40 plus years. And you have a book called From Punishment to Peace, which is road trips, forgiveness. So going from Memphis to Atlanta, before getting all that, Tom, tell us how you first got started.
Wow. Well, let's just say that the whole journey in this book has really started, I guess, with a couple of teenagers, 16-year-olds who were diddling in the backseat of a Chevy in a drive-in in Memphis, and a few months later, they ended up having me, and it was one of those kind of childhoods that was this dynamic between a loving mother and a father who didn't want me, and made it a point to say that pretty much every day of the first 20 years of my life. And so he gets through the lens of hindsight. My father was somewhat of a challenge. He was bipolar. He had spent most of his time challenged by that. Had been married 6 times.
Wow.
It really blamed his son, me, for not being able to achieve anything in life, or not, and yet he still achieved much. He was a good businessman. He just, for whatever reason, I was in his way, and so. But I'd spent about 30 years trying to outlive that, and that was really the challenge, as much as anything, Mike, is that somehow I kind of pulled away from that, barely got into college. And once I began to experience life and experience some forms of success, I became an overachiever. In fact, I became pretty addicted, to overachievement. So one good job had to be another higher paying job. It had to be a more important job. It had to be a job not here in the city I'm in, but across the country. And I did that 4 different times.
Wow.
Uh, and it wasn't one house. It had to be a vacation home, and it wasn't a Jaguar. It had to be two Jaguars. It was an obsession that I ended up having, that I couldn't fill the hole that my dad and I really kind of dug in me and my soul through my first 20 years of life. And so all of a sudden, and not really all of a sudden, it kind of came crashing down after about 3 decades of really pursuing the words that I think every son wants to hear, that his father's proud of him. And I never heard those words. But things kind of came together in a pretty abrupt way, where my business ended up shutting down, and thus I didn't have an office to go to. And my second marriage had failed, and so I didn't have a home to go to. And then ultimately, or at least around that same time, my father suddenly passed away. So I didn't. So the obsession of trying to prove him wrong uh, was all taken away from me, and so I was left with stuff and around me, and just really the trappings of anyone would claim would be a successful life, but it ended up just I didn't have a soul. I didn't have meaning. I didn't have a purpose, and so I decided to kind of shut everything down in my life and begin to kind of roll everything back and go back to as far back as I could, really back to my childhood, and be around the people that I grew up with. And there was one person in particular who was the same age relative of mine, an uncle, who who was also in a very abusive home. His abuse was much more difficult than mine, but we grew up together pretty much in lockstep. And but we ended up kind of just going in separate directions, completely separate directions. I went this overachievement, kind of addiction to materialism and hedonism and stuff. And he fell into a trap of drugs and alcohol at the age of 13,
Wow.
and really couldn't stop, and had been in and out of prison or the judicial system at least 4 dozen times. He'd been homeless most of his life. And so we came together after about 2 months. I'm sorry, excuse me, 20 years, excuse me, uh, and began to kind of share our times together and tried to figure out the pieces of our lives and why we ended up being really so far apart, and yet it's at the same point in time in our lives, very difficult times in our lives. And we went through a series of road trips together. We first met in Memphis again after 20 years, and that began the kind of peeling the onion of what happened in his life and what happened in my life and how they overlapped each other. And it really was pointed in the direction of quite a bit of abuse by our fathers, and so we kept seeing each other over about 7 months. We spent we took 4 trips together, mainly across Tennessee from Memphis to where his father was still alive in a nursing home on the other side of the state, and and so to see the experiences of what my uncle John, his name is John, my uncle went through, began to kind of melt me into and began to understand how someone who had nothing and had all the reason in the world to be mad at the world, and certainly mad at the man that pushed him in the direction of trying to heal through drugs and alcohol.
Hmm.
Uh, the experience of having watched my uncle spend time with his father uh, broke me. I mean, it broke me in a very positive way. The expression of love, the expression of sincerity, it was overwhelming, and I had that chance to really understand for the first time what that meant.
Hmm.
Uh, and but the book is about that. The book is also about two guys who, after going through these trips, through these experiences, begin to realize that there is some hope of finding the other side of all of this, of these scars that have been left on us in the pursuit of peace. And so we begin that part of a journey. He went through a series of residential rehabs. I was very proud of the fact that we had gotten him into residential rehab. But it wasn't one; it was 6. So he struggled through that, and then I also went through some things with me. And but in the end, I can't. I'd love to tell you the end of it, there, Mike, but in the end, it's an amazingly satisfying story. There is some tragedy at the end, but to have experienced the level of depth, pain, and yet how I saw him rise above that really taught me enough to begin the process of not only forgiving my abuser, but also beginning the path of forgiving myself, because abusers end up abusing one way or the other. Those that are damaged end up really doing much damage around them, and they don't even know it. I mean, in many cases, they think, "No, I'm fine. I'm not doing that. I will never be like my father." Unfortunately, after saying that hundreds of times. I ended up being more like my father than I ever imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was this wonderful experience with my uncle that really shaped me and changed me, and I'm very proud of what he went through to try to get to where he wanted to go as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And certainly a lot as well too, and give credit to Uncle and some of the people in your life. And what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing? So what was that moment that simply said, light bulb, go off your head?
well, you mean as far as writing the book is concerned?
That what you're
Go doing
doing and
this journey
everything.
of
So yes, uh-huh.
because I originally had not planned on writing the book. It was strictly just I've got to find a version of me that didn't exist before, and I think it was the immediate combination of closing down my business, losing ending my second marriage, and primarily my father's passing, when I came to the conclusion that I had nothing to show for what I had accomplished, because the person, the object of what I wanted to prove, that the man I wanted to prove all that he was wrong and what he thought about me over the years as a youth, the fact that he was wrong, he was gone. I didn't have that opportunity to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really kind of the wake up call that said, I've got to find another person in me. There's because I didn't like who I was.
Mm-hmm. Right, yes. And of course, you do have some influences, you mainly by music, people, challenges, triumphs as well as and a journey going from Memphis to Atlanta. We'll talk about with author Tom Harrison of From Punishment to Peace. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews, and Evil Evan enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forge Riley, and Manelis. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com or 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, Odyssey, Apple Music, Google Play, Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, TuneIn. Also heard on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, 24/7, 365, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7, all year round for family, friends, and loved ones. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing born and raised author, raised in Memphis, Tennessee, now living in Atlanta, Georgia, Tom Harrison with From Punishment to Peace here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about your book, tell us about the journey going from Memphis to Atlanta.
Well, I wish it was a straight from point A to point B, and you can see that you mentioned TCB and a lightning bolt. That's Elvis taking care of business in a flash, and so I've been a business guy
That's
for 40
original. I
years.
like that one. Yeah, TCB
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
flash.
that was his logo on his airplane, and I mean it's probably on a bunch of pillows, just like you've got yours. But anyway, no, from Memphis to Atlanta was not a straight line. I left. In fact, one of the things that someone had mentioned to me about the book was it mentioned about the characters, the 2 protagonists, John the uncle, Tommy the nephew, the antagonist being John's father, who was still alive at the time. But I think for all of us, our hometowns can be both a protagonist and an antagonist.
Hmm.
And that's the case for me for sure, as far as Memphis is concerned. It's a beautiful town. It's a wonderful place. I love growing up there. Had wonderful family around me. I just, of course, had the challenges of a father. And but as because of the difficulties through my teenage years with him, I had to get out of there. And so the minute I graduated college, I was off to Alaska. That's how
Wow.
far away I had to go to kind of find a different, kind of get away from Memphis for a while. So I was in business. I was a CPA by my first career,
Hmm.
and had an opportunity to go up to both Fairbanks and Anchorage.
Nice.
Uh, then ended up in Washington, D.C. as part of my career, in Los Angeles for 12 years, back to Memphis once or twice, and then landed in Atlanta in the Georgia area for the last 15, 16 years. So,
Wow, that is amazing. And of
yeah.
course, what are some adventures you did in Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta is kind of what it would like to call the capital of the South, and so it really is. It's grown quite a bit thanks to Delta and Chick-fil-A and Coca-Cola and a lot of major corporations that are headquartered here. But Atlanta's just a wonderful town, and so I think someone was predicting it could be at its growth rate, it could be the largest city in the country by 2015. That might be a stretch.
I wouldn't be surprised to be honest with you. Everybody wants to
That
go
would be a
south.
stretch, but
Everybody
it
likes
could.
warm weather. Everybody likes them
Yeah,
peaches. And of course, the film industry has been booming like crazy over there. It's like forget Los Angeles, just go to Atlanta. Of course, the music industry. Next thing you know, it won't be Los Angeles, it won't be Nashville. It could be very well in Atlanta. It's like a lot
that's
of
true.
people are heading over there. Yes.
That's true. So, but Memphis was a great place. It's separate of everything else as far as what we've been talking about. The music, the food. If you like barbecue, of course, Kansas City and Texas would probably are, and the Carolinas would probably argue against that. But Memphis, Memphis is on the map for sure when it comes to barbecue. But and I go there from time to time. I still have family members there. But and in fact, the cover of the book, I've actually got it here. It's got a drawing of the bridge over the Mississippi River at Memphis, and
Hmm.
so, so
Okay. Can you take the book and put it up
I'd
front
love to.
so our
Yeah,
viewers and can see it
yeah, sure.
up
From
closer?
Punch, yeah, sorry, sure.
Okay, so that's yeah, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful bridge. And that is going over Memphis, that's going over
Well, that's going over the Mississippi River. Yeah,
Mississippi. Okay, I was just trying to think which one it was. I had to double
yeah.
check, but oh my gosh, that looks beautiful.
So it sounds like you've never been there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the closest to it is Louisville, Kentucky, but I did have a chance to go down to Memphis, but that kind of fell through. And being on the I-57, we were tempted to go through Memphis, but then we end up like going to St. Louis and everything else. We thought about it and we just said that we went to St. Louis and just checked out some baseball, a little bit of
Sure.
barbecue and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
But
There you go.
there you
Good
go.
job.
Yeah. So we got that general idea and everything. And I looked and went, oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was I enjoy it. It's got a great culture, got great character to it. But you know what? In my growing up years, one of the things about Memphis, it seems to have not gotten over its racial challenges, and that's kind of a shame. I mean, the tragedy in '68 of Dr. King's assassination, I think,
Right. Yeah.
has really
Mhm.
put a kind of a pall on the ability of the city to kind of shake away
Right. A
from.
paw, a scar, a
Yeah,
deep wound, everything like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. But again, I there are times I miss it. Then again, there are times where I go, okay, I've had plenty of time there, and I've got good memories, but have moved on. So, but anyway.
And of course, music has been a big influence, not just Elvis, but more as well too. And I can tell in the background that you really get into Elvis.
Well, it's funny. I remember working in Memphis at the time, and some pretty important people from a company was coming to Memphis, and the business I was working in, we were all nervous about these people being in town the first time, and we wanted to put on the best our best face. And the minute they get off the plane, and we're thinking we're going to show them what they were coming to Memphis to see, and the first thing out of our mouth is, we don't want to go see that. We want to go to Elvis's house. And I'm just like,
Oh,
I like, and Memphians, it's like I don't know. It's probably like New Yorkers, seeing the Statue of Liberty or just whatever's famous there. No one who lives where they are would goes to the tourist places. It's because one, it's not that they don't like them; it's just they go there anytime they want to, and they just never go. And so when out of towners come in, that's probably the one and only time that people would be interested in taking them to any place like that. But so these people wanted to take us, wanted to be taken to Elvis's house. So the one and only time I've been there was when I was entertaining a bunch of important people coming into town. I wanted to do business with, and lo and behold, they wanted to just go to Elvis's house. Whatever it's worth.
For a little bit more, not just TCB, but more than that, like TCB in a flash for you. So,
Yes, that's right.
oh my gosh, yeah. And besides Elvis, so what are some of your other musical influences as well, too?
Wow. Well, Memphis is certainly even though Cleveland claims to be the capital of rock and roll,
Hmm.
Memphis wanted that really bad when that was set up. But you know what? I think there's a lot of soul in Memphis. There's just a lot of good Christian soul, Christian, just beautiful singers there. But just Beale Street, there's a lot of music down there, down in Beale Street in downtown. And so it's just, I think Memphis is one of the major cities in the country that just has a wonderful character. I know for a fact that Memphis is mentioned more in music than any other city in the country, in the world, I think, from what I've
Hmm.
heard. So it makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah. And of course, that also plays in the book as well, too, along with the
Yes.
other challenges and other triumphs as well, too, not just tied to music, but people and more as well, too. So it's like everything else all coming together. And of course, I think of it as like, music does play a big part. People play a big part.
Oh, it does. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think we have a connection to music. All of us have some form or another a connection to music, and it's usually born in our youth. So no, there's a lot of character running around in Memphis. That's for sure.
And certainly Dean as well, too. And of course, what else do you want readers to get from the book?
Well, I think that someone asked me right around the time that I finished the book, what would be what would I want a reader to take away from the book, and I really hadn't thought about it from up until that point, and so my wife and I kind of locked ourselves in a room for however long it was, and we really came up with what we would call the 5 R's of peace,
Mm,
and it really revolves around putting yourself whatever you're carrying, whatever punishment that one is carrying. I think it's really important to figure out a way to get that out. So the first R would be risk or risk it. Uh, Take the risk to say I've got to change where I am. I'm carrying this, and that's what I happened to me. I was carrying the punishment that I'd received as a youth, and for 3 decades, and I didn't know what to do with it until I came to that conclusion or came to the decision that I've got to figure out a way to offload it, to understand it, to learn from it, and maybe to heal from it.
hmm.
The second is reveal. Find a person or find a group, and a person could be counseling of some sort. A group could be a small group, but just put yourself in an environment where someone will sit down and you just let it loose, open up, say whatever it is that you're carrying. And I've been around small groups with men. Men are tough. Men are extremely tough to open up.
Hmm.
But we're the guys we're the people that probably need it more than anybody. Women are, from everything I've been around and seen, it's much easier for women to really open up and discuss whatever they're carrying. But men, it's tough. But if we can figure out a way to reveal that in front of other like-minded guys who care, then that can be the start of an amazing journey to peace. Um, the third R is receive. It's one thing to let it out. It's another to then start to receive responses from others that are beginning to care about you. As you open up, it's amazing how many people begin to relate to what you got. You always think that whatever punishment you're carrying, you're the only one in the world that's doing it. In reality, there are a lot of people that have gone through what we each have gone through, and so to be prepared to receive what others have experienced is an amazing step again towards peace. The fourth, I think, is the one that could be the most important that leads up to that finish line, if you want to call peace a finish line, and that's respond. Exercising the empathy muscle, being in an environment where, again, in counseling, you're hearing the advice after kind of revealing it, but you're not hearing the experiences of the psychologist that they've gone through that you can relate to. But getting in a room of guys, and that's what my experiences were. Getting in a room of guys who begin to offload what they've experienced and the challenges they've had in life, and to be able to lean into that, that's an amazing part of the whole process. You're turning this around and really becoming an important part of someone else's healing. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally, the finish line is what I call the last star is what I call is the finish line of peace, and that's reconcile. Um, Forgiving your wrongdoers, including forgiving yourself, because you know you're the wrongdoer too. If you've been wronged, you know that there's got to have been one or more people that you've wronged, that I've wronged, and I know that I've wronged. And so to get to the point of true understanding of who you are and get to that level of peace, in my opinion, it's coming to that genuine conclusion that you can forgive yourself and others for all the pain that has been thrown out and about. And I think that's so important. So
Mm. And,
that's kind of the big takeaway from the book. I hope anyway.
mm-hmm. And what are the 5 R's again? What do you call it? 5 R's of
Yes, 5 R's of peace.
5 R's of peace. Okay. All right. Well, we'll put that into play here for most of us, and then
Thank you.
and also where can we find your book at, and what's your website?
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's going to be released on February 15th through Amazon, both ebook and paperback, and hardback through my website, from punishment to peace.com. There's actually, I'm pretty proud of this. There's an amazing trailer on the main page of the website that I highly recommend. I had a guy that created it for me. Is just a brilliant guy who a 2-minute trailer on it. So if any of your wonderful audience has a moment and can look at the website, I'd be grateful. But from punishment to peace.com.
We will certainly check that out. What's coming up for author Tom Harrison of From Punishment to Peace? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing. We'll be back with author Tom Harrison of From Punishment to Peace after this time. We're back with author Tom Harrison of From Punishment to Peace, the road trips to forgiveness here on the Mike Wagner Show. A really good insight to the travels and the peace and everything, and all tying together. And just a couple more things, Tom. What else can we expect in 2024 and beyond?
Wow. Well, I this is my first book, as you stated in the beginning of your show. I really don't know what direction it's going to go, but I'm really excited about the interest. I love the opportunity to kind of get out and do some book signings. I'm really starting that process, and so, but just really having opportunities to spend time with you and your audience, just those kind of experiences are just amazing for me. I've never had that kind of experience before, and so 2024 is really starting off great in this regard. And so, again, I got to just thank you very much and you've honored me for being able to be on your show.
And also big thanks to Elvis as well, too, for being part of it as well, too. A little bit of TCB.
Thank you
So
very much.
yeah, learn
I
much.
had to throw that in there. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's a good thing. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, in my career. Okay. Well, I've had a limited writing career. It's been about that long. So I would say that from a writing perspective, it's got to be John Grisham. I've got every one of his signed first editions. I've got my name in one of his books, and he wrote a lot about stories about Memphis. So as far as an author is concerned, I would definitely say it would be him. And gosh, I'm a business guy. I'm a business consultant by day. I'm not sure who's influenced me there. I've had a lot of, but in a really good long career, you've got to have one or two or 10 people that have just walk beside you and kind of guide you in the direction. And I've been very fortunate to have several people that have done that. And so I'm trying to capture my opportunity to do the same thing for others right now. So it's been kind of a fun journey.
It sounds like a fun journey as well, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, as far as writing a book's concerned, just have a lot of patience because it took me 10 years.
Wow.
And be prepared that the editing process will be the hardest thing you've ever gone through in your life because you take this baby that you feel like you've born and shaped and molded and crafted, and all of a sudden someone comes in and go, this doesn't sound right. And so that's right. And so I had a year of figuring that one out. And so anyone that would have any kind of an interest in writing a book, I highly encourage it. But strap yourself in for a roller coaster ride when it comes to editing because it's not the easiest process I've ever been through.
Mm-hmm. And I'm buckling up right now as we speak as well too. I'm thinking about a book, but I'm glad you gave me that advice too. And just about everybody who wants to write a book, so that's a good thing. So
Yes.
we're here with author Tom Harrison of From Punishment to Peace: The Road Trips for Forgiveness here on the Mike Wagner Show. Tom, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Thank you. It's www.frompunishmenttopeace.com. After February 15th, you can buy it online there or on Amazon. It'll be offered in ebook and in paperback.
We'll certainly check that out. Once again, Tom, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. Wish you all best. And Tom, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it very much.